Alexander Hamilton explores a financial system for the new nation of America.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to France's Tavern. Today, I will be the waiter for this table. It is 1790. The United States ratified the Constitution just 2 years ago, and President George Washington appointed Alexander Hamilton as the first Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton wrote about the disorganized financial system and explored ideas for a plan that would pay back the nation's debt through the United States government. Hamilton felt strongly about his plan. However, he was to encounter opposition from the Republicans, or the followers of James Madison and Thomas Jefferson. They felt that the tariffs in Hamilton's financial plan were unfair and unconstitutional. This is because they had a very strict interpretation of the Constitution. On the other hand, the Federalists, or the followers of Alexander Hamilton, had a very loose interpretation of the Constitution.
It has been so long since we've seen each other. How have you been?
We have been good. The crops are growing and the children are healthy.
And how are you going to business?
All is good. I am glad your family is doing well.
We managed to do the best with what little we have.
Many Southerners opposed Hamilton's financial plan. This is because they had already paid back their state debt. They felt that it was unfair that they had to repay the North's debt through taxes. Due to this, many financial solution ideas were exchanged between the leaders of the North and of the South.
I must admit, it has been quite a while since we have gone out to a restaurant.
Yes, although on other matter, I must say, I adore your dress. It suits you quite well, and the lace is magnificent.
A shipment of lace arrived from France, and I decided to surprise her with some for the dress.
Yes, I was delighted. I had one of our slaves who was quite handy with the needle, help make the dress. Not as handy as you, of course, but the detailing you managed to do is exquisite. I suppose if taxes these days were not as outrageous as they were, I would be able to provide it with a luxury such as lace. But as I said before, we managed to do the best with what we have.
He is right. Taxes these days are outrageous, and they are not being handled properly.
Not being handled properly. How could you say such a thing? Hamilton is handling them in the best way fit for America.
Proof from Hamilton's plan is here. Look at this. This is our nation's debt.
Hamilton hand-wrote this. He understands it more than anyone, and there is no one better to fix it than someone who knows it inside and out.
How does this prove anything?
How does this not show how well he knows our financial system and debt?
Hamilton's financial plan consisted of three main parts. It would pay back the debt that was built up during the war. It would establish a national bank to store government loans and to place the country under one currency, and it would place high tariffs on imported goods.
Our government would finally be able to pay back the debts we owe and save the nation some money with the national bank. Our central government would become much stronger.
I agree. I like Hamilton's plan. Have you heard about the rubbish Jefferson speaks of? He doesn't even have a plan, yet he criticizes Hamilton. He thinks we're becoming a monarchy. Tell me, how are we becoming a monarchy when our states still govern themselves and each has representation in the national government? We are becoming strong and united as one nation.
Perhaps Hamilton's plan is rubbish. We fought for our freedom, and we are now becoming a monarchy again. That is nonsense. The government will steal all of our rights, our freedom of religion, speech, press, and assembly.
But also our right to petition and our right to bear arms.
Jefferson is the smart one. At least he believes we should have the political rights we deserve. Nowhere in the Constitution does it support a national bank. Hamilton will place tariffs on us. Nonsense.
We Southerners have already paid back our state debts with money we rightfully made from growing and selling crops. Now tell me, why should we help pay off other people's debts when we have already paid back ours? First of all, if you're thinking of even getting some of the money back that you loaned, then Hamilton's plan will help you get that money back. And I hope you're aware that we are now one nation, and we are not divided as North and South.
The dispute encounters continue until the introduction of Hamilton's financial plan and the Compromise of 1790. The compromise was made between Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and Thomas Jefferson, all three important founding fathers in the creation of America. Under the Compromise of 1790, After 10 years in Philadelphia, the nation's capital will be moved to the Potomac River in Maryland. It was under these conditions that Hamilton's financial plan would be implemented. A national bank would be established, and the nation's debt will be paid back.
What about the compromise that's in there? Are you still against Hamilton's plan now that you've gotten what you wanted? The plan is set. You have the capital.
How should one small compromise make up for a plan that will greatly impact us for the rest of our lives?
Not only our lives, but the lives of millions, our children's lives, the lives of many more generations to come.
Do you think that the National Bank, in paying back debts, won't help us at all?
This is the greatest idea brought to our nation since the Declaration of Independence.
Maybe you could convince me to support Hamilton's plan if the payment of state bonds was going to the people who originally lent money to the cause. Sadly, out of fear that the states would not pay them back, they have sold their bonds to speculators for a fraction of the face value.
So why should we be paying our hard-earned money to speculators who are taking advantage of the financial crisis of our new nation?
The Northern Patriot has already lost his money. The Southern gentleman has already paid his state debts.
The only winner in Hamilton's consolidated state debt into federal debt scheme are the wealthy speculators. Under Hamilton's plan, the rich get richer at the expense of the Southern.
But the country is the real winner. We become a stronger, more united nation, and we establish ourselves as a nation who pays back our debts to the rest of the world. This will make it easier and cheaper to borrow money in the future.
You Federalists can think what you want, but it won't change how we feel about Hamilton's.
Have fun with that. We are the smart ones, and we know what we are doing.
Hamilton's plan created a conspiracy in the new nation. Because of this, the Republicans and Federalists both went their separate ways. It is now 1795, 5 years later. They meet up again at Francis Tavern. Their lives were changed in both good and bad ways due to Hamilton's financial plan.
Who would be so foolish to do something like this? Please explain to me what the Whiskey Rebellion is.
I agree. Who in their right mind would protest over something as small as tax on whiskey?
In order to start paying off the debt, Hamilton's financial plan required a 25% excise tax on the sale or use of whiskey. Many Southern farmers depended on the production of whiskey to make a living. Due to this, they did not pay back the tax and rebelled. This is later known as the Whiskey Rebellion. One of the battles that sparked a lot of anger was the Battle of Bower Hill. In the Battle of Bower Hill, two Southern farmers, James McFarland and Oliver Miller Jr., were both shot and killed after burning down the house of General John Neville, a tax collector appointed by George Washington. Someone inside the house had supposedly waved the surrender flag, and James McFarland and Oliver Miller Jr. came out into the open and were both shot and killed.
I see you've been reading about the Whiskey Rebellion.
Rubbish.
You Federalists won't understand why we rebelled. We work hard on our farms to produce some of the food that you eat every day, including the whiskey you drink. Hamilton's taxes are outrageous.
We were defending our tax collector. On our behalf, you had been tarring and feathering any tax collector in your way and burning down their houses.
Do you not realize the consequences it could have caused if President George Washington hadn't pardoned your leaders of the Whiskey Rebellion? They would have all been killed and our nation would have crumbled.
All we were trying to do was fight for what we believe. Placing a tax on whiskey is absurd. Hamilton's foolish plan will not help our economy at all. Of course, you Federalists wouldn't understand. As merchants, you take everything for granted. All you do is sell goods. But what you don't know is that some of the goods you sell are things we
Enough! It is obvious we cannot come to an agreement, so why waste our time arguing?
She is right. We must come to our senses.
Although the factions still disagreed about Hamilton's financial plan, his encountering for a new government saved the new nation of America. What did Alexander Hamilton do?
He changed the way the American government runs today.
He was a strong Federalist who supported a strong central government.
After the war, we owed $56 million in bonds and needed to pay the investors their money back.
The solution to our debt was the acceptance of Hamilton's forward-thinking, three-part financial plan. By his creation of a national bank, he encountered opposition from the government, especially many Republicans and followers of
He was not only the one who created our financial system from scratch, but he also explored many ideas of how to come to the solution to approach the disorganized financial system, including his three-part plan.
Today, a strong economy flourishes in America because of Alexander Hamilton's encountering for a new government. Alexander Hamilton, by all measures, would be one of the most important founding fathers of America.